viewers. So today we learn English by listening this beautiful story, which is from a movie, 2015 released movie called Binhi. The story began with a young married couple, Daniel and Cynthia, who were shifting to a new city called Bangio. At the house, Mr. Santosh welcomed them, and during their conversation, we learned that the house actually belongs to Daniel's friend Alex. The house was beautiful and suspicious. Though it was far away from the main city, not many people lived nearby either, but Cynthia had no problem with that. In fact, she liked the house at first sight. The peaceful environment around the place attracted her even more. Maybe because the place was completely new for her, she felt excited about this new beginning. But for Daniel, things were different. Benjio was actually his hometown, his birthplace. He was born and raised there. His school, his college, everything was connected to this city. But after graduation, he shifted to Manila and had been living there for the past 7 to 8 years. So, after returning to his hometown, he should have been happy, right? But we don't see any excitement on his face. Instead, there was a strange sadness around him. Actually, he never intended to return here. He had to come back because of circumstances. He was trapped in a financial crisis. On top of that, he had recently gotten married and was expecting a child. Cynthia's parents had offered him financial help, but Daniel didn't feel comfortable accepting it because Cynthia's mother already looked down on him. To avoid that humiliation, Daniel finally contacted his best friend Alex, who offered him a partnership job in his company. But the job was in Bangio, which forced Daniel to return to his hometown after so many years. Alex even allowed them to stay in his house at a very low rent. Daniel was very grateful to him. After all, Alex was his last hope. If he hadn't gotten this job, who knows what would have happened to them. One night, Daniel told Cynthia that Alex and his wife, Jel, was coming to meet them. Cynthia became happy, but also a little awkward because it was going to be their first meeting. At the same time, many questions were running through her mind. If Alex was such a good friend, why wasn't he invited to their wedding? Why had Daniel cut contact with everyone after leaving this city? And if Bangio was truly his hometown, why had he never brought her here before? But Daniel cleverly avoided every question. Cynthia also doesn't force him because she knows there is something about this city that Daniel never wanted to face again. Day passes and Cynthia slowly gets used to her new life. Mrs. Santos even arranged a house helper named Marine for her. Everything seems normal, but strange things also began happening around the house. At first, Cynthia ignored them, but she has no idea that someone is constantly watching her. When she is doing household work, when she and Daniel was talking, even while they are asleep at night, someone follow her like a shadow. Meanwhile, Daniel also experienced something terrifying one day. While going to a site with Alex, they stopped at a large crowded store. Daniel stayed in a line to pay, but suddenly someone whispers his name right beside his ear. The moment he turned around, he realized the entire store has become empty. No people, no sound, nothing. Only muddy footprints began appear on a mirror, slowly moving toward him. But in reality, nothing had changed. The store was still full of people. Everything in line started yelling at him for not moving forward. Their voice finally bring him back to his sins, and terrified Daniel runs outside. Even after sitting inside the car, it takes him a long time to calm down. Later, Alex asked him why he suddenly left the city after graduation and cut contact with everyone. Daniel lies and says he got a good job in Manila and later decided to return because Cynthia wanted a fresh start away from the city. But we know Daniel is lying. He never had a good job in Manila. Cynthia never wanted to move there either. And moving to another city doesn't mean you have to completely disappear from everyone's life. It feels as if Daniel was trying to run away from something. That same night, Alex and Jill come over for dinner. During their conversation, Daniel strangely seems more interested in the land behind his old college campus than the campus itself. Jill finds it odd but ignores it. Later that night, Jill starts feeling uncomfortable while sleeping. She feels like someone is watching her, calling her name, and she even hears a little girl crying. Although Alex hears nothing, after they fell asleep, we actually see someone standing beside her bed, staring at them. It was the same entity watching Cynthia. Jill cannot see it, but she can definitely feel its presence. Terrified, she stays awake the whole night. The next morning, she tells Cynthia everything. But when Cynthia tells Daniel about it, he brushes it off by saying Jill is simply too superstitious. To distract Cynthia, Daniel takes her outside. They go for dinner, visit a church, and do something shopping. But at the last store, an odd old woman suddenly grabs Cynthia and screams, I have seen you in that big house. You are not safe there. Don't go back. Cynthia cannot understand her because she is speaking in the local language. Back home, Daniel once again tells her not to believe in such superstitions. But the truth they cannot be ignored forever. That same evening, while Daniel is taking a shower, we see the shadow of a little girl standing behind them. Daniel can feel her presence too. And when her freezing hand touches him, he trembles violently as it is struck by electricity. For the first time in his life, Daniel feels truly terrified. The next day, while working at the site, the spirit suddenly appears in front of his camera. Her horrifying face shakes him to the core, but he tells nobody about it. Meanwhile, Cynthia becomes curious about the previous owner of the house. The house was beautiful, well decorated, and fully furnished. Why would anyone sell such a place? So she goes into the basement with Marine, the household, and find old photo albums. Inside them, the family photo, including picture of the cute little girl. But while looking at them, Cynthia hears a child laughing. Turning around, she sees a little girl running upstairs. As they follow her, Cynthia sees something so horrifying that she faints instantly. And after regaining consciousness, she cannot even remember what she saw. Now, Cynthia constantly feels uneasy inside the house, but since nobody else experienced anything unusual, she struggles to explain her feelings. One day, she casually asked Daniel whether any family with a daughter ever lived there before. Daniel replied no. According to him, the previous owner were a rich, childless couple who only used the house during summers. Then, whose child was in those photographs? Cynthia silently wonders. Meanwhile, the little girl spirit continues haunting Daniel every single night. She stands beside his bed, staring at him as if she shares some old connection with him. One night, Daniel wakes up hearing the sound of a music box coming from the nursery. But they never bought a music box, so how did it suddenly start playing? When Daniel enters the nursery, he feels someone's presence. A cold wind brushes past his neck, and behind him stands the spirit. This time, her feet are not touching the ground. She is floating in the air. Daniel freezes in fear. Goosebumps cover his body, and the moment he opens his eyes fully, the spirit appears right in front of him. Her face is horrifying. Daniel runs away in terror, fell to the floor, and once again sees her rotten feet covered in wound and insects. Somehow he reaches the bedroom and lies beside Cynthia, trying to convince himself that everything was just a nightmare. But deep down, he knows it's real. Slowly, Daniel realized that the spirit was attached itself to him. That's why he started spending most of his time in church. But even there, the spirit never left him up alone. Then one night, something terrifying happened. Daniel accidentally cut his finger while working. Cynthia immediately put his bleeding finger into her mouth. Daniel gets shocked because he never behaved like that. But when Cynthia looked at him, her eyes have turned completely black. Blood stained her lip and teeth, and she smiled in a horrifying way, as if intentionally drinking his blood. The next moment, however, Cynthia became normal again, completely unaware of what just happened. Now, completely terrified, Daniel contacted Alex and asked him about his uncle, who is known as a healer. The next day, Alex secretly takes Daniel to meet him. Back at home, Jill admits to Cynthia that she feels scared inside the house. She says there is something heavy and strange about the atmosphere, but Cynthia hides everything from her because she doesn't want to scare her further. Suddenly, they hear someone falling upstairs. Jill's younger brother had slipped on the stair while chasing a little girl he claimed to have seen. He says he stepped on a doll and fell, but nobody find any doll there. Yet, after everyone leaves, we see a doll lying there, which someone quietly picks up. Meanwhile, Daniel tells Alex's uncle everything. After hearing the story, the uncle asks if Daniel is hiding something, because in such cases the victim usually has some connection with the spirit. He performs a ritual that night. During the ritual, Daniel suddenly finds himself alone and once again see the little girl. Following her, he reaches a place where everyone is standing motionless like a statue, staring at a coffin. And inside the coffin lies Daniel himself, dead, wrapped in a white cloth. The shocks bring him back to reality. The ritual had failed because some powerful force stopped it midway. According to the uncle, the spirit hates Daniel deeply and is becoming stronger every day. The same night, Cynthia finally sees the spirit clearly for the first time and faints in fear. Thankfully, both she and the baby remain safe. Now Daniel becomes desperate to uncover the truth. He visits Mrs. Santos and learns about the original owner of the house, the Guzman family. They had a 6-year-old daughter who they had a 6-year-old daughter who mysteriously disappeared after a terrible car accident around 8 years ago. Despite years of searching, neither the child nor even her body was ever found. Eventually, the investigation was closed. Hearing this, Daniel's face turned pale. He rushes to the records office to see the missing girl photograph, and the moment he sees it, his entire body starts trembling because it was the same little girl haunting him. At this point, the movie revealed the truth through the flashback. On the night of his graduation party, Daniel was drunk and driving restlessly. While trying to light a cigarette, he lost control of his car and crashed into another vehicle carrying Mrs. Guzman and her daughter. The accident was horrifying. The little girl was badly injured but still alive. Daniel picked her up and rushed toward the hospital. But outside the hospital, fear consumed him. He imagined his life getting destroyed, his dreams ending, and himself going to prison. So instead of saving the girl, Daniel made a horrifying decision. He drove to the forest behind his college campus, dug a hole, and buried the little girl alive while she was still breathing. After that, he left the city, cut contact with everyone, and spent years trying to escape his guilt. But faith finally brought him back. Back to the same city, same house, back to the same road, back to the same spirit waiting for revenge. Now Daniel finally understands that everything happening to him is the result of his own sins. Maybe his suffering is his punishment. Lost in this thought, he keeps driving without realizing he has reached the same highway where the accident happened years ago. Terrified and shaking, Daniel stepped out of the car for the fresh air. But terrified and shaking, Daniel stepped out of the car for some fresh air. But in his disturbed state, He unknowingly stands in the middle of the road. Suddenly, a speeding truck crashes into him and kills him instantly. Finally, Daniel suffered the same pain he once caused to that innocent little girl. The spirit revenge is complete, but the story still doesn't end there. In the final scene, we see Cynthia sitting in front of a mirror, lovingly combing her daughter's hair. But she has no idea that inside her daughter lives the spirit of the same girl whose life Daniel destroyed a year ago. Perhaps on the night Cynthia fainted after seeing the spirit, the soul attached itself to the unborn child growing inside her womb. And now she has returned, this time as Daniel's daughter, to complete the life that was once stolen from her. Maybe this is what true natural justice looks like. And with that, the story comes to an end. I hope you enjoy the story. Do share your thoughts in the comment section, and I hope you learn English from this story.